not on your life. I went here as a student. I enjoyed my time here. It was a long trip from start to finish because I stayed on and got a residency at the University of Pennsylvania Hospital. And I thought I was going to just move on from there, but they asked if I'd stay on to teach a little bit. And so I did. I spent 2 additional years after my residency teaching. And then I said, well, I think I'm going to move on a little bit. And then I ultimately did move on a little bit. And next thing you know, I had a visit in my office by the president, then president of the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and Sciences. And it came to my office and said, we need you to come back. And I said, well, I just wanted to be away a little bit. No, come back. So about a year and a half later, I did come back, and I never left. So if you add all that time together, it comes out to, from 75 to date is about 38 years. If you add the 6 years before that, it makes it 44, and the time in between, I really never left the time in between. So you could say I've been here a long time, probably about 40 years altogether, at least in some kind of educational or administrative role, and 6 years as a student. Never thought, and that was never my intention, never. I was exploring. Wasn't really sure what discipline within pharmacy I wanted to get involved in. So when I left, I thought I'd try some different things, and I spent some time in community pharmacy. I knew what that was like. I started doing consulting for pharmaceutical industry. That was really exciting. I was having a lot of fun doing. I was working with, it was that time, it was E.R. Squibb and Son, before it became Bristol Myers Squibb. It was E.R. Squibb. I was working with their sales training department. It was really great fun. I thought that was exciting. Then I had an opportunity to work with the cancer people over at Sloan Kettering, and I thought that was exciting. My problem was I was having a hard time finding things I didn't like. There were more things that I liked rather than things I didn't like, and all wrapped around the pharmacy profession. And so I guess one of the things that drove me back a little bit was that, at least in higher education, you are dealing with all the channels and disciplines within pharmacy and pharmacy practice, and that's what I liked. I've had this asked to me a number of times over the last month or so, or since I've announced my retirement. What were the guiding principles? And the first was the 10 two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. And what that really means is that you are responsible and accountable for just about everything. And you need a team to get things done. You need a great team to get things done. You need a supportive staff. You need everybody working together to get things done. But at the end of the day, you're ultimately responsible, and you're accountable for all of that. So that was the first piece. The second was the issue of people. And when you're in positions like this, and a lot of other positions, even when you're in the academic environment, you're always working with very impressive people. Your colleagues are excruciatingly impressive. So you need to be impressed with them. And what the most important part about being impressed with them is always never to be impressed with yourself. And I thought that was important for me, and I kind of lived by that piece. The third piece was about truth. And I listened. Anytime you're in all these environments, one of the best things about education is that it teaches you about finding factual things. And truth is what you choose to believe, but real truth is factual, and real truth doesn't have any agenda. And so anytime I saw an agenda, it always puzzled me a little bit. But real truth had no agenda, although I did learn that ultimately politics always trumps truth. So that was also within those guiding principles, and it helped me understand and how to interrogate along issues and along lines to try to find the factual pieces, because then you're always working for the betterment of the cause rather than for a specific agenda. And the last is a very long quote by Theodore Roosevelt. It's the one that starts with "It's not the critic that counts, and not the person who points out how the doer of deeds stumbles and falls. It goes on, and I think it really talks about people who are willing to roll up their sleeves, get in the arena, and battle it out. And you may win and you may lose, but at least you'll never rest with those poor and timid souls who knew not victory nor defeat. I was never a Teflon person. I wanted to be in the game. I was never afraid to roll up my sleeves and do the kinds of things that were necessary to get things done. And you don't always win. It isn't about winning. It's about doing the right thing. And it doesn't mean you always succeed. But you will fall down. And when you fall down, you got to stand up, brush yourself off, and get right back in the game.
Sure.
Well, the greatest accomplishment always, the overriding accomplishment to all accomplishments, is following and watching the careers of our graduates and seeing them with successful lives, successful careers, and really productive members of society in so many ways. That's the crowning piece. For me, it was the transformations. We were a monolithic institution, really very much impressed with our own history and legacy, but we weren't moving to all the places that we should be. The marketplace was changing, the healthcare landscape was changing, science was changing, everything was moving, we were staying the same. Didn't think that was the right place for us to be, so the first change was really moving us to be a university. But the second, and that was a complete transformation for the institution. The second was creating an environment that would support a university. So we had to have a campus. So we made sure that we acquired the land, did the right kind of building, and really built the infrastructure for a campus. And that was huge, and that'll be a sustaining piece for us. That was really the second transformation. The third transformation really was building the kind of academic infrastructure to support a university. So whereas we were a couple of programs and really an iconic place in pharmacy, we ultimately were able to create and establish 5 separate colleges, which really gave us the opportunity to really focus and look at the academic programs, where we wanted to grow and in each area, and give each of the 5 schools an opportunity to grow, while at the same time preserving the integrity and the vitality of the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy, which I thought we did a good job with in maintaining the college's name, keeping its identity, but at the same time developing the other schools like Sampson and Mays and some of the others, Misher, and now the College of Graduate Studies. So that was the third transformation. And the fourth transformation was a different kind of transformation. It was really leading the institution to developing a platform for its future success during the worst of economic times. And once we had built the university structure, it really needed a platform to launch from. And there was a lot of infrastructure pieces that we really needed to add. And over the 3 or 4 or 5 years that we were building infrastructure, it was silent infrastructure. Nobody really saw it. But there was the kinds of things that I think will give each of the schools a new level or new platform to launch from. And we were able to do that while money was tight, while things were changing in our economy, and higher education was making a change. That's the fourth transformation. And that's more transformations than anyone ever really ought to do. So those are the pieces that are the bigger pieces.
Sure.
Not in my mind. Not in my mind. There were times I was always sensitive to what the alumni felt, what our students felt, and what our faculty felt, and we listened to just about everybody on that issue. But instead of being emotional about it, we looked at it factually, put all the facts together, looked at the marketplace and said, what if we don't do this and the marketplace continues to move? And I did not want this institution in jeopardy. I loved it so. So rather than allow it to be a victim of the marketplace. I wanted it to be out there and be a leader in the marketplace. During a time when other institutions were trying to decide what to do, we just went out there and did it. And I'm glad we had the courage to make that happen. The challenge, the greatest challenge I've had as president is to really grow the institution, balance that growth, and it was modest growth. I mean, it's not been, sure, we've doubled or almost tripled the size of the institution. And that sounds like a lot, but that was over the course of about 17 years. It was really controlled growth. There was only 1 year where I actually thought the growth was a little bit more than we had anticipated. But it was controlling the growth, and at the same time sustaining the quality, and at the same time making sure that we kept ourselves within a price point that our students could afford. All of that was very, very challenging to me. I like all the places that are green. I like the entire campus. I like the quad. I like the way the Arc and the McNeil and Wilson and Goodman are structured around that whole area. There are not too many places on campus that I don't like. It holds together very well, and more important, a campus isn't just its buildings. Its campus is a community. And when I see how our community interacts with our faculty now in this environment, and how the staff have become part of the entire fiber of the institution, then I know we have a community, and that's what makes the campus work. You have a big job to do to make sure that your alma mater is continually positioned for the challenges of tomorrow, and that's everybody's responsibility. And I think one of the messages that I would give to folks is that anytime you have an institution as treasured as this, all its stakeholders should be concerned about its future, and all should participate in its continued growth and development. It isn't one group's responsibility. It isn't the administration's responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility to do this, and that's what makes this happen. And I think a large part of our success here is that we built a community within our faculty, staff, and students. That was one community. But we continued to embrace our alumni, our external stakeholders, a lot of new constituencies, and we continued to make them all work together. And if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be where we are. The reality is we're going to need a lot more of that in the future. And one of the groups that I certainly don't want to miss in all of that, but because they are so integral in everything, is our board. The board is kind of the integrating force between the external community, the internal community, and all the market forces. And although they're not on campus every day, they're here 4 times a year, that integrating force is really crucial to how this organization really mobilizes itself. And because I work with them all the time, to me it's really part of the internal and external community of the institution. I certainly don't want to not mention their contribution because it's crucial. So, but again, it isn't just the university and its community and the board. It's things beyond the alumni, all the friends, all the folks that interact, the parents that really make this work. This is a special place because it is a deep community. It is a very, very deep community. It is proud of its heritage. It's proud of its tradition, but it's not encumbered by either of those. It's an institution that is very forward-thinking. It has the blessing of very skilled employees here. It has the blessing of very, very talented students here. It has the gift of a dedicated staff, and they all seem to work together in a unified purpose. And that is to build the platform provide the opportunities for the generations of tomorrow that continue to feed the well of this university. And I hope will continue to do so for hundreds of years. Well, the world is full of challenges and opportunities. These past few months, I received many phone calls of many opportunities. As I look across those many opportunities, I assure you I will look at the most challenging ones.